Today I am a happy camper because number one, Native Instruments gave me this shirt right here. It's kind of tight though, but does show the figure a little bit. And number two, they gave us the green light to talk about this. Oh yeah, this right here. The new complete MK3 controllers by Native Instruments. Look at it. Thing look good. Bolo! So yes, Native Instruments has just released their new controllers. They are the new complete MK3 controllers, much different from the controllers that they had before in the past. And I know one thing y'all noticed was that screen. Yeah, instead of it being two screens, it is now one screen. And this thing is actually very dope. They actually did their thing on this controller, and I am very excited about using it. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of videos coming out today talking about a lot of tech stuff about it, and I'm going to give you guys a few things that I really like about it, but I'm not going to dive that deep because there's going to be a lot of updates to this controller over the next coming weeks. Now, this controller is not available yet, but it will be available in the next coming weeks. So this is more of an introduction than me telling you to go out and get the controller today. But if you did want to go ahead and get it, you can go to Native Instruments site, or you can go ahead and check out that affiliate link down there in the Zounds, and you might can get it. You know, maybe no credit or background check. I'm not too sure yet, but you know, go ahead and check it out either way. But yes, Native Instruments definitely did their thing on this controller. I love how they redesigned this whole thing. They made it much easier to use. Everything is pretty much grouped up, so you can go ahead and just use everything in a particular group rather than everything kind of being clustered in one area on the keyboard. And unlike a lot of other companies, Native Instruments decided to make their screen bigger instead of smaller. They put a lot of focus into the screen on this controller. Now, it is not touchscreen, which I'm cool with, because you're still gonna have to do a lot of stuff between the controller and your computer. But what they did is phenomenal. They made this screen to where it is usable in every single way when you are making your music. Now, another thing that I did like is that they moved the touch strip. Now, if you guys have used any of these keyboards, you know, even like with the M32 and all the other keyboards, when you would play certain things, you would hit that touch strip and it'll make your sound start sounding all crazy and stuff. Now what they did is they moved that touch strip horizontally above the modulation wheels so that you wouldn't hit it. I know I used to hit that thing so much, and I am glad that they moved it because now it's out the way, but you can still use it the same way as you did before. Now, the front of this controller is pretty much self-explanatory. They have buttons, they have knobs, and everything could be assignable to your DAW. Now, every DAW is not going to have a script for this controller. So, you know, you Studio One users, you know, you got to do what you've been doing. But as of right now, today, it is fully functional in Logic right now, and they have more scripts that will be available for Cubase and for Ableton. Pro Tools, I don't know about that. Reason, don't know about that either. And we're not even going to talk about, you know, the other people. Them. I'm almost for sure that the other guys, it ain't gonna have no scripts for that either. Now let's talk about the back of the unit. It has a power on and off button in the back. It has two USB hookups. One is to hook up directly in the back of the computer, and the other one is to give it more power just in case your computer or whatever you're trying to control does not have any power. Like say for instance, you're hooking it up to like another keyboard to just control that. You would have to hook it up to a plug at that point. Now you actually have a few more options to hook up pedals on here. Of course, it has a sustain and an expression slot. And then also you have two extra assignable slots that you can use to hook up more pedals if you want to do that. I almost forgot. It actually has Midi hookups. So it does have 5-pin Midi hookups in the back so you guys can control other keyboards and all that stuff too. So that's a quick overview of the actual controller. But what I wanted to do is instead of me getting all too deep and like all the specifics, I just want to hook it up to the computer. And I actually want to show you guys how this thing works with using it inside of an actual DAW. So I'm gonna go ahead, hook this up to Logic Pro, show you guys a few of the sounds and show you guys how this thing works inside of an actual DAW. And then I'll see you guys at the end of the video. So we're in Logic Pro right now, and before we get started with the sounds, I want to show you guys something really quick. This keyboard can control certain functions inside of Logic Pro because it has pretty much all the scripts. You can use all the transport controls with it, and if you hit this DAW control right here, it takes you over to the mixer. So right here, this is insert 1. This is where we have our sounds on, then we have our stereo out, and we have our master, and we can go ahead and we can turn these up and down, and we can mute these as well if we need to. So we have a full and complete DAW control. So now if we want to go ahead and set our metronome, if we want to record anything, we can just press record, and it'll record, stop, and it'll play back with the metronome on, or play back with the metronome off. So that's how we can integrate this board with our DAWs, and there will be more scripts coming, but as of right now, Logic has the completed script right now to use, but it will be more scripts coming for Ableton, Cubase, and I don't know, maybe Studio One. I don't think that's gonna happen. However, let's check out the new complete control using the board. So as you guys can see, whatever is on the computer will now show up on the board. This thing has its own computer on the inside, and this thing has some great graphics on here as well. So you can see everything in real time on the board, as you can see on the computer. This makes it a lot easier because now you don't have to keep clicking on stuff. You can actually just go through your sounds this way without having to reach for a mouse every single time. Now, the only thing that this board cannot do is if you're trying to select, say for instance, from here to like maybe Kontakt 7, you're going to have to click on it using the mouse on your computer. But once you're inside of here or Kontakt 7, as long as you have NKS sounds, or if you have sounds inside of each one of these that are detected, you can just use the little jog wheel right here, or you can scroll through using these knobs right here at the bottom. And we're going to go through that really quickly. Now, first things first is we can scroll through our sounds using this knob wheel. Or what we can do is we can go by brand. We can go ahead and go to this knob. We can go by the brands. And as you guys can see, we have Arteria, Native Instruments, Output, and Waves. These all have NKS files, so they will be detected. So right now, let's go through some Arteria sounds right now. So we can select Arteria, and as you can see, everything pulls up on the board as it would pull up on the computer. Now, we can scroll through these sounds the same way by using the jog wheel on here, or what we can do is we can go ahead and select a certain product. So say, for instance, I want to go through here, and I want to go through augmented piano. I can go through the augmented piano, select that. As you can see, everything with the augmented piano pulls up. I can scroll through the sounds. Okay. That sounds pretty cool. I select on it, it shows up on the computer, and it shows up on here, and it has all the macros down here as well. So if we want to change the morph on here, we can turn that, and it changes the morph on the computer. We can change the time, the motion, all the effects and everything. And another thing, if all the macros don't show up on one screen, we can just go ahead and press this little button right here, and it'll take us to all the other macros inside of the actual sound, which is dope, even though this is not even a Native Instrument sound. So if we want to play it, and then say, for instance, we want to go ahead and turn the morph up on here. We can do that, and it works just fine. So let's say, for instance, we want to go to another sound. Say, for instance, we want to go to the ARP 2600 right here, right? We can actually scroll through these sounds, or we can just select one real quick. So now that we have the sound selected, we can play it. And then we have our cutoffs. And then we can go through, and it has so many different parameters on here because the ARP 2600 has, you can hook up all type of stuff in there. And this has 13 different windows where we can add certain things in here. So we can add delay, chorus, reverb. So we can add a reverb to the left, reverb to the right. We can do all of this stuff inside of the board, and we can do this with every sound on here because now dealing with NKS, we can go ahead and pull up the sounds, pull up all the macros in here, and we can just go to work with it. Really simple, really easy. Let's go to another product. Let's go to Analog Dreams. Okay, let's pick the first sound in Analog Dreams. Pulls up, and then As you guys can see, it works. I can turn up the volume. I can turn the cutoff. It's very simple to use. Very simple to use. You can do it on all the sounds on here. And with this screen right here, it just makes things so much easier. Now, another thing that you guys have asked for was Aftertouch. This controller definitely has an Aftertouch on here. What you can do is hit on this right here, the settings, this MIDI settings right here. Go over to where it says hardware at the top. Click on keypad, and bam, you have a polyphonic Aftertouch and you have a monophonic Aftertouch as well. So when you press down on the keys, or if you press them a certain way, then you can go ahead and have that Aftertouch effect on there. I don't use Aftertouch that much, but I know some of you guys do. So I'm not going to cover it as much as some other people will, but you know, you do have Aftertouch on here, and you have certain settings on here that you can change. Like you can actually change the colors on here as well. Look at that. So you can change all the colors. Look at that. Look at that. You can change that. You can turn the light guide on, the brightness, you know, you can turn that up and down. So it's a lot of stuff that you can do inside of the board that is actually very dope. Now, let's go ahead and use the board with Kontakt real quick so I can show you guys how to use it in Kontakt, which is very easy. All right, so now we're in Kontakt 7. Looks almost like using the complete control, but with Kontakt 7, all the sounds that you have inside of Kontakt 7 will open up in here. Okay, it's very easy. You don't even have to use the mouse in here as well. You could just go ahead and just do your thing in here. So say for instance, right now in Kontakt, I want to go in here and I like Analog Dreams. So what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to go right here to Analog Dreams. I'm going to select that and I'm going to just pick a sound in here. All right. So I like this sound right here. Sounds pretty dope. Let's turn this up a little bit. Sounds good. We have a sound in here. Sounds good. Let's just say, for instance, we want to stack this sound with another sound. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to turn this down just a little bit, right? I'm going to turn this down. And then right here at this little button right here, I'm going to select that button. As you guys can see, it says no instrument effect loaded. Use your browser to load the instrument effect. I'm going to go ahead and press browser right here. And let's just say I want to add, what can we use? Let's go to 40's keys right here, right? So we can go right here, select on that. And as 40 keys pulls up, the full graphics, everything pulls up. You don't notice it on the actual computer. Why is that? Because it is stacked. The sounds are now stacked, and then now, as you guys can see, 40 keys is underneath there. So when we play it, you can actually hear the sound, but it's actually tucked underneath the other sound. So what we can do is we can go back in here, turn this sound down, go back to 40. You hear, we can turn this up a little bit louder. We can go back to this one, turn this up a little bit more. And then let's go back to the 40 keys and try to find like a different sound. And we can scroll through the sounds just by pressing the next or the previous. So we press next. And as you guys can see, you can stack sounds like that. But as you guys can see, this board is very dope. This is probably, since I've been using boards, probably the most advanced board I've ever used. I love that they did not take away from the screen. They actually added to the screen. And this thing is actually very dope. So if you guys want to go ahead and pre-order this, there will be a link in the description so you guys can pre-order this board. This thing is dope, okay? And I will be doing more videos in the future with more updates about this board, but stay tuned and I will try to give you as much information as possible. But of course, if you guys want to get it, go ahead and click those links in the description and go ahead and get that pre-order on right now. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys learned something from it. And like I always say, peace out.